Hello everyone, my name is Lewis and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all safe and well. Now on today's episode, I've got a few more contemporary jazz albums which I want to share with you. I'm really excited about them. I'm glad to get my hands on them. Hopefully you'll feel the same. If you don't, please let me know in the comment section what if you've got any negative feelings about it, or you simply agree with me that they're worth having in your own personal collections. That'd be really nice. Now we got a bit of housekeeping to do before we kick on to the main subject area, and got a few notes. The first one of which is, and I'm extremely stoked with this, between you, I should be doing you that way, you and I, we've managed to reach the milestone of 1,000 subscribers. I can't believe it, to be quite honest with you. I'm having trouble getting my head around it. I just want to say this is a heartfelt thank you to all of those who have been here from the very beginning, been encouraging me along the way, giving me some feedback in terms of what they like and what they don't like about what I do. I'm hoping that your journey with me has been an entertaining one, and it's different enough from other YouTube content creators. And please understand, I'm not throwing shade on them. I'm coming at the world of jazz from a slightly different perspective. So thank you all very much indeed for your support. It really means a lot to me. Going forward, of course, I'm going to be trying to produce more jazz material for you guys. Yes, so those who don't know, I don't like all jazz. I'm not a collector as such, despite what you can see behind me. I like particular compositions. I'm interested in individual artists and albums as such. I don't want the entire, discography of any particular artist. I just don't feel that way about buying music. There's certain albums which resonate with me, and that's what I tend to pursue. So hopefully you've enjoyed the journey with me. I've certainly enjoyed doing it. I'm not only going to be doing jazz videos. There's quite a bit of Brazilian and Latino. There's some classic R&B as well in my collection, under the moniker of Rare Grooves, which I'd like to share with you guys at some point, and it will happen. I know that many of you really only come here for the jazz, but there's only a certain amount that I like. I don't like everything. So yeah, and I'm not going to repeat material which you can find from other jazz vinyl creators out there. I'm just not going to bother doing it because they do a fantastic job themselves. I'm not interested in that side of things so much. So yeah, I totally understand it. So again, thank you for sticking with me. It's been a load of fun. And onwards and upwards, should I say. I'm gonna have a quick look at my notes to see if I've forgotten anything. Yes, so how am I going to celebrate this milestone? Now, probably about a year ago, I had done some basic designs for t-shirts, and I was probably going to go along that route. I think part of the problem was I got overexcited, and instead of just keeping it down to probably one design choice in one color scheme, I did probably, I think they were on 5 different colors, which included black, white, blue, green and gray. I had slightly modified what the design I used to work well with those particular base colors as t-shirts. I don't think I'll be able to release anything near that. If I'm going to put something out there into the community, I'm not sure if I could be able to do that in terms of costings and so forth. I don't think that's economically viable, certainly not for the moment anyway. But I would like to give something back to those who have supported me along the way. Now, I'd love to do a giveaway, and I think t-shirts might be the way forward in terms of doing this. So there's probably two elements which are probably holding this up in terms of channel size and the finances behind it. So I like to give away quite a few, and obviously I'll have some for retail purposes as well. It's just a case of, do I commit funding to that particular area, knowing that I've got to sit on it for a while? That's probably not a good business model to be doing. Whereas if you farm it out to a third party to do it, I have to see what requirements they need, and do I have a choice in terms of, because I want to, if I'm going to do a t-shirt design, I want it on a really good base t-shirt. So along the way, I have sampled quite a few t-shirts from various companies, and there's one in particular that I really want to use, which is a heavy density t-shirt, which I feel would be, it's a bit of quality. If you're going to spend money with me, I want you to get something back in return. I don't want like a standard cheap t-shirt with just a logo on it. I'd like to do slightly better than that. And it's a case of, as well, do I have ones which are different in the sense of there's something more to that t-shirt for ones that I'm giving away to those people who have supported me along the way, and have a retail version which is probably not as good, or vice versa. I'm still kind of up in the air as to what I'm going to do with that, but I think t-shirts will be relatively safe. I had considered things like anti-static, like vinyl brushes, vinyl cleaners, as well, with my logo on it, or the channel logo on it. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. If you guys have got any suggestions out there, please let me know in the comment section. It'd be nice to get your feedback as to if I was to produce something which I want it to be useful to you anyway, and remind you of the channel in some way, shape or form. So yeah, if you got any suggestions, let me know. Yeah, I'm just pleased as punch, like 1,000 subscribers. I can't get my head around it. Yeah, that's the second point. The third point was, there was at least one viewer who left a comment, and again, I took this in a kind of heartfelt manner. It wasn't a complaint or anything, far from it. He said he wanted to contribute to the production of the show, and if I could set up a Patreon style account. Yeah, I was just blown away, because I can't even finish that sentence, because it's kind of, it kind of blows my mind. It's a very nice gesture, and yeah, let me know down below if you guys are comfortable with that. Me being the person that I am, I find it hard to cope with, but if you as an audience would like to make a small or a contribution to the show, the ongoing show going forward, in terms of helping me to buy the albums that I want or desire, I'd consider setting up, a Patreon style account or Cash App, or whatever you guys think would be best going forward in terms of that. So slightly embarrassing talking about this. I'm not really used to it, but yeah, I don't know what more to say apart from this was a comment. I thought it was a genuine comment of this person, and I was simply blown away. I just want to know what other people's, the audience's response to an idea like that would be. Yeah, so I think that's the housekeeping out of the way. That's nearly 10 minutes of waffle. Let's get into the main part of it, which is contemporary albums that I've bought, I don't know, over probably the last 6 months, something like that. They basically were released between 2020 and the present day. So they're all new. I'll go through each one of them in turn, and explain why I bought that particular album. You know, the usual fare. And of course, I'm going to leave links down below so you can hear them for yourself. If you think that they're going to fit into your collection and you think you're going to get the same enjoyment out of them that I have so far, you at least be able to hear it for yourself and make an informed decision. So straight out of the gate, I've got an interesting one for you. Beautifully packaged, by the way. Let me just take it out of the sleeve. It's by a gentleman called, I think you would pronounce it Yuzuki. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to show it to you. And the album's called Number One. There you go. So there you have it, and I'll show you the reverse side. Nice OB strip. Yeah, I'm appreciative of this. This came out in 2021. Yuzuki Sase Yusuki. I think, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Although I've absolutely carved up that name. There you go. So, Japanese trumpeter. I really like this album. I've had it for a while, so I think I got it when it first came out. It was expensive for a new album and I slightly balked at it, but it occupied it has done and will continue to occupy a space in my collection, which I think is rather unique in the sense of, in the terms of the compositions and the musicianship, which is fantastic, by the way. This is a selfless performer. It's his own album. He's the main guy there. He's the one who's signing checks and all that kind of stuff. And he's, in terms of compositions, these are his. But he's very generous in terms of letting the other musicians do their thing as well. So if I didn't tell you that he was a trumpeter, you would think he was either the pianist or the lead guitarist. And that's one of the other nice things about this album and what makes it slightly different. Lead guitars in jazz are not really, on a fusion side of things, that totally makes sense. But in terms of the more traditional side of jazz, it doesn't really appear that often, because it's kind of out of place. He manages to work it into his compositions in a way which I found unique, interesting, and challenging. So, yeah, just a really nice piece of work. The prices, well, I think when I took a look on Discogs for this album like a few days ago, it had basically doubled in price from what I paid for it. So I don't care about selling on things. That's not what I'm about. I buy things because I want them. I'm not buying them as an appreciating asset. I don't buy things in that particular. Yeah, those who do that, that's your thing. Make your money, do what you're doing. I don't think like that. I just buy it for the sake of, I like it. That's as simple as that. You might struggle to get this on vinyl still. CDs, I think, is going to be a lot easier. And for those who like jazz, but on, the CD format or the download format is your preferred way of going about things, there's no shame in this game. I just want you to have the album if you like it. It's as simple as that. Don't think that because I've got it on vinyl that I've turned my nose up at other formats, because I certainly haven't. You buy in the format that you like. It's what makes you comfortable at the end of the day. That's all I'm interested in. And I'm interested in you hearing this body of work more than anything. So yeah, it's, as I said, more than likely easier for you to get on CD or download. Vinyl might be problematic, and if it is, you're certainly going to be spending like tone poet type money for it, and then you've got to make a decision as to whether you think that's worth it. Now, this is a 6-track album. There are some lovely compositions on here where a lot of the tunes, maybe 2/3 in, build to a crescendo type thing, and that's when you get a solo from the accomplished pianist. I'm trying to think of this. Can I see it on here? Kaihori Kola, I believe, is the pianist. And let's see, Koga Koganamamuru Kai is the guitarist. That was a proper mumbling of, I butchered that name. I should have practiced before I pressed record on this video, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Koganamamuru Kai is the guitarist. Yeah, those two stand out as well, but Sasei Yuzuki is, if I can say the name properly at least once, yeah, this is real nice. This is real nice, and I'll be interested to see what other works he's going to do going forward. So as far as I know, this is the only solo work of his, and it's phenomenal. Yeah, so check it out if you can. Certainly have a listen. I'll leave a link down below so you can hear at least one track from it, and from there you'll be able to find the whole album. Excuse me. And yeah, see if it's going to fit into your particular collection. So that's the first one. The second one today, I'm glad I got it, and it's 2020 release. It's on the Blue Note record label. Oh, I should say this Japanese one came out on the P Vine. Yeah, this one came out on the P Vine record label. This second one came out on Blue Note, and yeah, it's okay. I'm not going to go into the politics as such, but I will say, as an outlier, they marketed this album absolutely appallingly, and I will say no more. You can look up for yourself how they went about marketing it, but let's just go to the album anyway. It's by a group called Artemis, and it's a self-titled album, and let me show you. Okay, and let me show you the right. So in terms of this one, the background to this album is these lovely ladies here, 7 of which were brought together as a kind of like a female jazz supergroup. So think of, I'm just trying to think of from other genres, like how the Power Station, I believe they were called, from, I believe it's the 90s they came out, or the Traveling Wilburys, where you've got solo artists in their own right, and you've brought them all together to make a supergroup, and this is it. Yeah, this album, when you remove the foolishness from it, the background stuff, the marketing, if you remove that, in and of itself, this is a very good album, and I'm going to stand by that. I'm super enthusiastic about it. I know quite a few people probably do have this album, but for those who don't, I'm going to leave a link down below so you can hear it for yourself. Oh, I should have said, oh, on the first album, I'm probably going to be using the track number 4 from this. It's literally called number 4. On this one, I'm going to be using the track for you to sample, a track called Frida. Now, as I said, supergroup, it stands on its own merits. I don't care that they're female. I just care, are you making good jazz which resonates with me? Yes is the answer. I'm not bothered about your gender. Your gender has nothing to do with why I buy music. It doesn't even enter my head. I've got to say, the piano work and the drumming on this album, maybe it's the engineer, what kind of, like, in terms of the mixing desk, brought them to the forefront, but in and of itself, my goodness, the drumming work on one of these tracks, when you hear it, it's just like, wow, that girl can play drums. And it's not even that girl, that person can, that member of humanity can play drums. Really enjoyed this. Well, it's a bit hit and miss in terms of probably the one downside to this album is there's too many genres within jazz which they're trying to get onto one album, and that's what happens when you do like super group type things. What certain members of the group are really good at have to be displayed somewhere on that album. So there are some compromises. But when this album gets into full gear, and you will notice those tracks, because it's like, I mean, I think there's like 3 really good tracks on here, and I bought this album on the strength for those 3 tracks. The others, on, you know, I can take it or leave it type thing. I'm not saying that they're rubbish or anything. I just wouldn't have bought the album for those tracks. But there are 3 tracks on here which are absolutely just top rate, just top notch. It really is, and it's a really good indication of where contemporary jazz is when you take away all the nonsense and just let the artists do what they're supposed to be doing, and that's to produce the best body of work that they can at any given stage. Really glad to get this album. I think you'll be able to get this one relatively easy if you look around for it. I think it's gonna, I think most retailers, the major ones, will have it. The independents, you might have to wait for it, and it's going to be, I think, reasonable money for it. You're not going to get a bargain on it. You just won't. 5-6 years down the line, you might be able to find it as a bargain, but at this point, it's still holding its price. And you know what, rightfully so. I've certainly enjoyed this album. Well, the strong elements of it really, I just said, that's good, I'm gonna have that. So second album, Artemis. The track I'm probably going to use is Frida. Came out on Blue Note, and it's a 2020 release. So that's the second album today. Sorry for my meandering. As you know, with this channel, I tend to do that. The third album today. Yeah, I'm going to give you some of the context for the remaining albums that are on, which I'm going to show you today. It seems like the arts councils of many Scandinavian countries, so whether that's Denmark, whether that's Finland, whether it's Sweden, yeah, or Iceland, or those kind of places, those arts councils seem to be putting a lot of money into jazz, well, music in general, the arts in general, but certainly in terms of jazz, they're putting a lot of money in over the last, probably from what I can see from these results, probably over the last 5 years. And I bless them for doing it, because the output has been fantastic from that area. And if you know kind of my content, I have a real soft spot for jazz which originates from the Scandinavian, the greater Scandinavian region. I just find it interesting. It's got a different tone to what you'd find in mainland Europe or America or even Japan. It's got a different flavor to it, and that's what I enjoy. I enjoy world jazz, as you know, full stop. I'm just not limiting myself to, you know, the main market, which is obviously America. Nothing wrong with what's going on in America. I just want a slightly different collection to everybody else in terms of, yeah, I just want other stuff. There's this other stuff out there which is interesting. That's what I tend to gravitate towards. I'm a bit of a contrarian, if you haven't picked up on that already. That's just how I am. So this particular album I'm going to show you came out on the, I think it's April Records, 2022 release. It's by the Morton Chance trio, and the album's entitled Passenger. There you go. So you can have a look at that, and I'll show you the reverse side. Let me take it out of the wallet. Maybe that's going to help with the, so you can see it for yourself. There you go. Yeah, first of all, I like his outfit. This is a guy who's just he's pleased with his lot in life, and yeah, good for you, mate. You know what I mean? It's like all your dreams have come true. You've worked hard for it. Why not? You know, there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, I like that already. I think I was initially drawn to it because of its cover, wanted to give it a chance, and it blew my socks off. Now, I'm not saying it's a perfect jazz album. I'm not saying that, because I think, being honest, they front loaded the album in terms of the A side. How many tracks are on here? 8 tracks. The first 4 are absolutely astonishing, powerful, muscular musicianship, which really I didn't expect that. But when I got to hear it, it's like, whoa. Again, maybe it's to do with the engineering and how it was done on the mixing desk, but this sounds absolutely, it's just thump. When it goes for it, it goes for it. I think for those who are new to jazz, this might be a good one for you, in terms of where you kind of measure your expectations of what can be done. Very good compositions on here, very good indeed. And if I could get myself out to Scandinavian region, if the actual if the channel blew up to a particular size, I would go to these, I would go and see these artists in their native countries, and I'll report back to you guys and do some filming there, and in terms of, what I see and what I hear over there. But yeah, this is very, very good. The A side, very good. The track that I would recommend from this is called Pokhara, Pokhara. I'm going to leave a link down below so you can hear it for yourself. This is real good. This is real good. I think I didn't really look up on Discogs or anywhere else. I've had this for a while. I don't know how hard it is to get on vinyl still. I'm sure you can get copies out there, particularly if you're in that region of the world where it originates. You should be able to get hold of it. CDs is probably going to be a lot easier. But yeah, give it a listen, see what you think for yourself, see if you agree or disagree with me. But yeah, any other works by this trio, I want to hear it. I'm not saying I'm going to buy it because I don't like everything, but I'm certainly going to be interested in hearing what they do in the future, and I'll try and look for their back catalogue to see if there's vinyl versions which are available for reasonable money, and I like them. I'm going to try and get hold of them as well. So yeah, really good slice of jazz here. Like I said, muscular. They're not messing about when they get going. This is something which will take your attention. It's like, whoa, that's that's real good, that is. So that's the 3rd album today. Let me slip it back in its wallet, give me a second. Yeah, I've just been enthusiastic about what I've been purchasing recently. I've bought some classics along the way, from like the 70s and that kind of stuff, and I will make a video about those when I've got enough of those to warrant a video. But certainly in terms of the contemporary jazz side of things, really happy with not only with what I've bought, but what's out there at the moment. I must confess, the contemporary jazz side in Britain, it's a bit hit and miss for me at the moment. I'm not really engaged with it as much as the media would like me to be. I've kind of like those who are artists who are being hyped up. I'm just not feeling it. That might change at some point, but at this moment, certainly Scandinavia and there's other parts of the world which are putting out really, really high level jazz material, which I'm really happy about, and that's what I'm going to invest my money in. It's my money, I buy what I want type thing. Just like any one of you, you can buy what you want. You work hard enough. So yeah, don't just fall for the hype. That's my basic bottom line with that. The next album, Again, it's on the same, you know what, that wasn't even conscious that I did that. This is on the April record label as well. Again, coming out from the Scandinavian region. It's self-titled album, and it's Little North. Yeah, show you both sides of it. It's quite funny when you see this cover, like, in fact, let me take it out of the wallet sleeve. This is to an untrained eye, I'm making these observations. These two, you can see there's some filtering going on. So, okay, they're individual pictures, superimposed on top of one another type thing. These two definitely have filtering going on, which this one doesn't. So I thought he was kind of like, they're mad at him, or he was late on a particular day for the photography, just didn't turn up, or he's a late addition to that particular outfit, which I don't think's the case. They're too well drilled. But it's funny that his image isn't of the same quality as these two. You know, if I've noticed, then other people are going to notice as well. This is a 7-track LP. Now, I managed to get this for a song, and it was kind of like, one of the things I kind of pat myself on the shoulder about is when I'm looking for music to listen to in general, and jazz in particular, I will trawl through somebody's catalog. I will just go through the whole thing. I won't leave anything out. I will try and listen to as much of it as I can, and from that I will determine what I want to cherry pick from there. And this is one of the cases where I've gone through a retailer's catalog and come across this one, and it just blew me away, in the sense of, at least one of the other albums I'm going to show you, this is the bridge between kind of modern classical and jazz. It's kind of got that overlapping type thing going on, for want of a without being able to explain any further. But it's that crossroads which I find really interesting, because I love a bit of classical. I do love it. I wish I had more of it. I do have some, but I wish I had more. And finding classical vinyl in good copies is a bit of a pain in the posterior, let's put it that way. And of course I love my jazz, so when I get the two things fused together, I tend to like it. This album is so underrated. You should be able to get the vinyl relatively cheap. I'm going to leave a link down below. The track I'm going to introduce to you from this album is called Malleus. That's a real good track. But the album in and of itself, it's got its peaks and troughs, but I think from a value proposition, in terms of how much I paid for it, for what I got for that money, it's really good. It really, really is good. The musicianship is first rate. Again, I'm slightly biased towards jazz piano. Even in my classical, what I like in classical is it predominantly piano led? No, I wouldn't even say that, but I do like it in classical, obviously. But well, it's not obvious, but I do like it. I've got nothing but respect for this trio. They've put a good body of work out on this album, which I totally respect. I've heard some of their other albums, and I think there's an album, I've seen at least 3 of their albums on vinyl, or I may have listened to 3 of them, including this one. And I think maybe one precedes and one comes after the release of this album, and I didn't like them as much. There's something about the compositions on this particular album which definitely resonated with me. Really glad to get my hands on it and support outfits, trios, jazz trios such as this, who probably won't get mainstream attention. They're just not big enough for whatever reason. Let's hope that the record companies in and of themselves are pushing really hard to get their material out there. So yeah, I'm really glad to have got my hands on this. It's sophisticated. This, yeah, it's sophisticated. It probably will appeal to those are really not into jazz or kind of like feeling their way through it, but they do like classical. I think that this is a really good bridging point. So really glad to have got my hands on this. It shows you that, you know, there's labels out there who are producing really good work, and in this case I've got two examples from Apple Records, which I'm really happy with. So yeah, Little North, self-titled album. Going to leave a link down below so you can hear one of the tracks at least for yourself and see if it's going to work in your collection. But I'm really glad to have got my hands on this one. Right, let's see what's next. So the next one, I bought this like really recently. Like this one's come in within the last few days. I like everything about this album. There's, you know, it's a 6-track album. I pretty much love every track what's on there. The artist is called Valtteri Laurel, and it's the Valtteri Laurel Nonette, and the album's entitled Tigers Are Better Looking. Yeah, let's show you that. In fact, let me just remove it from the sleeve so there's not so much glare. Got to say, that is beautiful packaging, beautiful graphic as well. I'm really happy with this one. Just as a side note, one of the artists on this particular album is Jaska Lukarinen, I think it is. Yeah, I've got another one of his albums which where he's the forefront of the album. He's the primary, he's the composer stroke, you know, leader of the band type thing. And I absolutely love this album. I think I used it. Yeah, I might have shown it to you in the European Jazz Roundup I did a few videos ago. I'm going to leave a link to that video in the description as well, so you can go back to that video. Because I think if you're going to enjoy this video, you're probably going to like that one. Yeah, because it's kind of like more of the same type thing. Yeah, fantastic packaging. Let me just start off with that. Really took, you know, it got my attention. Now, again, it was one of these albums that I got no particular reason. You know, I saw the album cover, clicked on it, and wanted to hear it, see what it was about. This album is fantastic. It's got everything I want in not only contemporary jazz album, just in a jazz album, full stop. It's just got everything. What an enjoyable ride. The compositions are absolutely okay. I'm more on the melodious side of things. I'm not so much into free jazz, although I've got some of it. I'm not really into it. It's not something that I really understand or enjoy. I'm more on the melodious side of things. This one just ticks every one of my boxes. It's just excuse me, it's just a beautiful experience. I'm going to leave a link down below for you to hear some of it for yourself. Probably the track I'm going to use is Till September, Petronella, for you to listen to for yourself and decide whether or not it works in your particular collection. I'm really stoked about this album. I'm not sure how easy. I think probably the first run prints of this are probably near enough that you might struggle to get this on vinyl. I've seen it on I did look this one up on Discogs, and certainly in the UK you would have to import that from another country. That's probably, you know, if there's 3 or 4 of you out there who live in Britain in particular who want it, you're probably going to have to import it from somewhere else, from another country. If you live in the US and you do like this, you'd probably be easier getting the CD version or downloading it. But if you want the vinyl one, it is available. You're going to have to pay. That's the bottom line. I think when the time of me buying this album, I was probably one of a handful. There's probably a handful left of copies in England, probably, and I managed to get one. So I'm really happy that I discovered it for myself. I really enjoyed it, took it at its merit. I think this is a really strong jazz album, irrespective if it's contemporary or not. It's a strong jazz album, which I really did enjoy. There was probably, to be honest, this is notable only because it's quite unique. There's probably a 2.5 minute spell on this album that I didn't enjoy, or I just found a bit, that's a bit grating on my ears. But even on the track that I'm thinking of, it settled down to a point where I liked the rest of it. So just 2.5 minutes on the whole album, which I kind of wasn't into. That's a really good ratio. I mean, yeah, what can I say? So that's that one. Yes, with the support of the Arts Council of Finland, 2023 release, I should say. So I can see that my memory card is going to start to get a bit flaky in a minute. I don't want this video to go on for too long, but you know what I'm like anyway. 2 albums left. Right, the next one was released 2022. It's on, let's see if I can quickly spot the actual label. Enya, ENJA stroke Yellowbird label. Right, this album, it's by Rebecca Tresher and the Rebecca Tresher Tentet, and this is called Paris Zyklus, the Spirit of the Streets. Let me show you that. In fact, let me take it out of the wallet so you might be able to see it less glare. There you go, and I'll show you the other side. So this particular album, I bought it towards, I think, the late last year. I actually bought it late last year, probably quite, not immediately when it was released type thing. It was probably really late, and yeah, I almost made this the album of the year. Or maybe looking back, instead of doing like one album of the year, I should have done like maybe 3 albums of the year, which really blew my socks off in terms of what I'd bought for that calendar year. This album is absolutely astonishing. It really is. It just makes you think how good things can be. This, like the Little North, straddles that line between classical and jazz. As a whole, this is a lot better in terms of its consistency. This is chef's kiss. This is a beautiful album. It just has beauty, it has presence, it has poise, it has strong musicianship. It's well directed by Rebecca Tresher in terms of what she wants her overall sound to be like. Again, a graceful band leader in terms of letting the musicians do what they do best, and she contributes to her own part as an artist as well. She's very good. I think every track on this album is an absolute stonker. It really is. If you're, I think this would be good for like those new into jazz as well, because you could pretty much play it from front to back, and anyone who was listening to you would be impressed by your knowledge and go like, hey, I didn't know you was into jazz, kind of thing. And it's like, whoa, this is the jazz I always wanted to hear type thing. This is very good. High praise with this. This one gets a gold star for me. Things may come along in the future what might take it down the pecking order, but at this moment in time, I've got to say, not only by contemporary standards, just by jazz standards, this is outstanding. Now, I tried to get some of her other material, and it's not for a case of, I haven't bought them for the just the sole reason that they're on other formats other than vinyl. And I don't really want to be building up my CD collection any further than what it is. So again, it's not snobbery. It's just a case of I prefer a particular analog format compared to a digital version of it. But that's just me. You don't have to follow me. She has at least 2 other albums, and I've heard them, and they are absolutely fantastic. So at some stage, I probably will bite the bullet and buy the CD versions of those albums, because there isn't a vinyl one available, and I like her work, and I want to contribute to her work going forward by purchasing her albums. Yeah, I support artists who I enjoy their body of work. That's the way it should be. So this is an absolute corker. I'll have to decide later which track I'm gonna basically link down below for, because there's so many tunes. So 6 tracks. I like all 6 tracks, and I think it'd be unfair if I put all 6 links there. You guys are gonna have to look for those for yourself. But yeah, this is astonishing. It was going to be, up until last minute, probably my album of the 2022 in terms of purchasing. I like the choice that I've made, but this was certainly up there. I've played this album a lot. I really do enjoy it. So Rebecca Trencher, Tentet, Paris Zyklus, The Spirit of the Streets, on the Enya Yellowbird label. This is real good. You'd be doing yourself a disservice if you don't listen to this. This is good. I've been whittering on. Look at. So yeah, I can see my memory card starting to freak out. So I'm going to do one more album because I can, type thing. And again, I'm going to give you an album which I think might be my jazz album for 2023, and certainly at this point it looks like it. I know we're only in, we haven't even reached spring yet officially, but when I heard this album, absolutely blew my socks off. Oh goodness. Right, so let's just find out what I need to find out. Come on, tell me when you was. So part of the album was, it looks like it was recorded over a couple of sessions in 2020. It's the UMO Helsinki Jazz Orchestra, and they are conducted by a guy called Ed Partyka, Partyka, and the album's entitled Last Dance. So let me show it to you. That's the cover. Something what came to mind just then by looking at that cover. There's the Wes Anderson film, The French Dispatch, and you've got the Guillermo, what's his name, Guillermo del Toro, the actor. He's got a particular vignette in that film where he's a prisoner who does this art in prison, and this reminds me of one of his compositions. Yeah, I just thought of that now. I do love Wes Anderson films, by the way, and that one in particular absolutely had me in stitches. The James Baldwin vignette, which I'm trying to remember the actor who's done it. He done it so accurately to what James Baldwin is actually sounds, and his intonations as he talks, and yeah, you can just hear the intelligence. Jeffrey Wright, that's it. Jeffrey Wright's the actor who does a version of James Baldwin. Absolutely hilarious film, in my particular opinion. Yeah, I just love that film. Anyway, that's a side. This album is, again, astonishing. It really is. I'm so happy to, just even thinking about this album puts a smile on my face. It's so good. I've got very few big band jazz albums, very few, because as a subgenre, I can take it or leave it, but the big band jazz albums that I do like, I absolutely adore them. So I think if I've got 10 in my collection, my entire collection of big band albums, that's about the right ratio. For all the albums that I have, I've probably got about 10, because I'm really selective. I don't like it all. But this one, this one absolutely blew my socks off. Let me show, okay, I showed you that side. I think it's a gatefold, so you can see it for yourself. Yeah, super pleased to get hold of this. This is absolute. I just can't get over how good. It's just mad good. It's hard for me to even articulate how I feel about this album. You can obviously hear my enthusiasm, but what I'm saying is this is the real deal. This is just absolutely high quality. I'm not sure about the other output. I kind of like felt to myself, oh, if it's going to be one and done in terms of getting material from this particular jazz orchestra, then I'll be happy with that. I'd have to look to see if there's anything else on vinyl. I'm not sure. I think when I did a tentative look for anything else, I didn't find anything particularly on vinyl. That might have been the stumbling block in terms of me finding anything else. This is a 2021 release. It's on the New Klang Records of Germany, or Bayer Studios record label in Germany. And what an absolutely astonishing piece. There are 4 tracks on here. Now you might say to yourself, well, it's only 4 tracks. It's like, what's he going on about type thing. Yeah, but all 4 tracks, all 4 are amazing. Absolutely amazing. Played with such, I use this term a lot, but when you hear it for yourself, you kind of get why I use these kind of superlatives. Panache, professionalism. I don't even speak foreign languages, but I'm going to say it's joie de vivre. I think I know what that means in French. Yeah, I think that's an appropriate term. It's got that X factor. It's absolutely astonishing, and I want you guys to hear it for yourself. I haven't decided at this stage what tune I'm going to use for it, because again, I want to use all 4, but in fairness to the others, I won't do that. I think Dienda might be the track that I'm going to be using for you to hear for yourself. I got to say, if you see this in the wild, just buy it. Just buy it. Do yourself a favor. And I would say about the Rebecca Treschler as well, just buy it. It's if you like jazz, just buy it. They are gold star, so there's at least, I think, maybe 2 or 3 gold star albums in here, in my opinion, particularly from the contemporary scene. But those 3 pretty much transcend their era in which they were actually released. They're just that strong. So yeah, I love this. Please have a listen, see if it's going to work for your collection. I hope it will. Let me know in the comment section whether you agree or disagree with me, because yeah, my taste is my taste, it's not necessarily yours. So, or you might have suggestions. So based on what I've shown you, you might say to me, oh, have you heard this and this? And there's every likelihood that I haven't heard it. So I will seek it out for myself. If I think it's going to work in my collection, I will try and add it to it. So yeah, that's the last album for today. I don't want the memory card going doolally. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. It really does mean a lot to me. Yeah, we're at 1,000. Let's see where we're going to be in another year's time. Yeah, it's been a lovely journey with you out there, the viewers. Thank you for spending time with me. It's most appreciated. It is heartfelt. Never think that I take it for granted. Yeah, who knows when the next video is going to come out. I have to build up a certain amount for me to for it to be worth doing a video. So I think maybe monthly or every 6 weeks I'll probably do something, because I've got enough vinyl by that stage to do some kind of themed video. So be patient with me. I will get something out. I'm enjoying myself too much not to do it. So again, thank you so much. Look after yourselves, stay safe. I will see you soon for another video. I don't know what it's going to be about, but yeah, I'll find something in my collection which I hope you will find at least interesting, maybe informative. But until then, take care of yourselves, okay? Bye bye.